I seen the light. I see the reason in the night. And every time I close my eyes, guess I just need you by my side. Yeah, my heart gets cold, I need you when it gets cold, I need you more than you know. After all the time that's passed, is it wrong to say I want you back? Yeah, my heart gets cold, I need you when the lights go low. No love wasted if you take it. If you feel a little lonely, I could use a little something. We could make a new beginning. Feel a little lonely, I could use a little something. Don't give me up, I seen the light. I see the reason in the night. And every time I close my eyes, guess I just need you by my side. Yeah, my heart gets cold, I need you when the lights go low. Yeah, my heart gets cold, I need you more than you know. After all the time that's passed, is it wrong to say I want you back? Yeah, my heart gets cold, I need you when the lights go low. Everything I ever done, everything I ever seen, everything I ever built, I was dreaming.
Good morning, everyone.
Some kind of miracle for you, some kind of miracle for me.
Welcome to our webinar on how to immigrate to Canada as a caregiver. For those people who are joining us via Facebook live stream, welcome everyone. Good morning. If you have any questions along the way, along the presentation, please do not hesitate to ask your questions on the comment section. And I would appreciate very much if you can please do like and share this free Facebook live stream.
What's the difference, I suppose? We'll wait and see. I kiss something close, I kiss something near.
And for those people joining us in our Zoom webinar, welcome everyone. For you guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them in our Q&A portion, Q&A chat box, please. And I will go ahead and review them later on after this webinar. I see there's still people trickling in, so I'll give you guys a few more seconds to settle in, and we'll be starting in less than a minute.
I kiss something warm, it's not my own. I kiss something close, I kiss something near. I kiss something warm, it's not my own.
All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get this one started. I know you guys are very much excited to hear what's new around the caregiver immigration or the new caregiver pathway to Canada. So yes, this is a new pathway that started in 2019 of June. So yeah, so also Happy New Year, everyone. It's a uh, it's a brand new year, right? So let's go ahead and get this one started. My name is Israel Roman, and I'll be your host for today. I am a licensed Canadian immigration consultant and at the same time a registered nurse here in Canada. And our office is located in Nanaimo, BC. That's our main office. And we have a branch in the Philippines. This is in President JP Laurel Highway, Lipa City, Batangas. So, home child care provider or home support worker pilot program. So, what's new about this one? So, when we say child care provider, this is the commonly known as nanny. For the support worker, this is the caregiver. Okay, so caregiver that looks after elderly or adult with disability. So, what's new about this program? What's great about this program that started in 2019? So, as a caregiver or nanny, if you would like to, I'm hoping you do like to come to Canada and work as a nanny or caregiver, you will be essentially applying for two types of application. One is your open work permit, okay? And this open work permit is occupation restricted only and not employer restricted. So meaning to say, when you come here, your work permit, your open work permit would say that you are here only to work as a nanny or you are only here to work as a caregiver. But when it comes to who, I mean like which employer, it won't specify which employer. That means you are able to work for any employer as long as it is the same occupation. And this is great news for you guys because that means if you have to change employer for whatever reason, you can go ahead and do it without having to apply for another work permit. That means you don't need to wait for a new work permit in order to go to a new employer. Okay. So let's say your last employment on your current one would be on Friday and then you need to go to another employer on Monday. You don't need to there won't be any delays on that one or there won't be any problems. You can go ahead and start with working with your new employer, right? So the good thing about this one is that that means you won't have any gaps in your employment. So meaning to say, which is good because that means because your goal is really, I mean, like not the only goal, but then one of your objective is to complete a 2 years employment, 2 years of full-time employment, and once you've done that one, then your permanent residency status will be finalized. So you want to get that 2 year mark right at that 2 year mark with no delay. So this one would be very helpful for you guys. So again, only occupation restricted and not employer. And the other thing is this open work permit doesn't need an LMIA or labor market impact assessment. This is basically for the employer. Before a Canadian employer can hire foreign workers like yourselves, they need to apply permission from the government, right? And asking permission from the government is not a simple thing. So there's a lot of documents that needs to be presented, and at the same time, it costs money. So this one has been eliminated, right? So LMIA is no longer needed. This is great news for the employers because now they are they're more encouraged to hire foreign nannies, foreign caregivers because a big step has been taken away. All right, and less expense for them, which in turn is a great news for you guys indirectly, because that means there will be more Canadian employers wanting to hire, or they're willing to hire foreign nannies or foreign caregivers. Okay. Now, the other application that you will be submitting is your permanent residency application. Okay. So both application, open work permit and then permanent residency application. Then once you have completed your 2 years of employment, then you will we will submit your proof of employment to finalize your permanent residency status. So essentially at when you get approved for your open work permit and permanent residency application, you're essentially a permanent resident, 99% permanent resident. You just need that 1%, which is your full time, your 2 years of full time employment. Okay. So, one popular question on this one is that can I apply for an open work permit only for now and take care of my permanent residency application later on? So, the answer to that one is a no, unfortunately. You will have to apply for both application at the same time. Open work permit and permanent residency application submitted at the same time. And you need to meet the requirements for both. Okay? So, what are the requirements then? So, for your open work permit, a requirement is you need to have a genuine and valid job offer, right? So you can't come here without any job offer. If you're coming here if you're applying for a work permit, then you need to be able to show that there is a job for you. So, and it has to be genuine and a valid job offer. So if an employer is hiring you as a nanny, then the employer needs to prove that the employer really needs to hire a nanny because there are children or child that needs to be looked after. And at the same time, the employer needs to prove that he can financially support you as their nanny. Okay. So for an employer hiring a caregiver, then that employer needs to prove that there's an elderly with disability or adult with disability or an elderly person or people that needs to be looked after by you. That's why they're hiring you as a caregiver. Okay. And the job offer needs to show that they are offering you full time employment. So this would be at least 30 hours per week. Okay. Next is that you need to be able to show that you're able to do the job, right? As a nanny or as a caregiver. And in order to prove this one, you'll have to submit, let's say, a caregiver certificate or training or experience or something equivalent to a nanny work or a caregiver work or caregiver experience. Okay. So equivalent could be, let's say you were a graduate of nursing, then yes, that is something that is equivalent, right? We'll be able to prove that as a nursing graduate, you'll be able to do the job as a nanny or a caregiver. Okay. And it has to be recent. And when we say recent, it is within the last 5 years. Okay. So it would be hard for us to approve the application if your caregiving experience was like 10 years ago. And then since then, you were not working in a medical field. So that one would be rejected or refused by the immigration. Okay. Next requirement is meet the language level. So this one would be for your permanent residency application. So when we say language level, this is your IELTS, right? So, and immigration only looks, or immigration is only asking for CLP 5, okay? Or the Canadian language benchmark of 5. So if to translate this one, let's say to IELTS score, if you're going to take the IELTS, you only need to score 4.0 in reading, 5.0 in listening, writing, and speaking. So I think the scores the scores right here is very much attainable, right? It's not that high. So unlike if you're applying for to go to get admitted to a school, university, that one could be asking for a CLB 6.5 or 7. But this one, for the immigration, it's only asking you for a CLB 5. So very much attainable. But of course, I do understand that there might be some people out there that is, for some reason, having some challenges in getting the score that they need when it comes to IELTS or English. It doesn't mean that they don't know how to speak, write, read English. It's just that they tend to have that anxiety or panic attack as soon as they enter that exam room. And as soon as that one kicks in, confidence level goes down, and because of that one, they're not able to concentrate and get the score that they need. Okay. So don't you guys worry about that one. I will give you a great news later on how we are able to help you get the score that you need. Okay. Next requirement is education requirement. So this is also for your permanent residency, and what they're looking for is first year in college. Okay, they're not looking for a degree holder or associate degree holder or a master's degree. They only need first year of college and admissible to Canada. So this one would be for both open work permit and permanent residency. And when we say admissible to Canada, meaning to say you don't have any criminal offense in any country or any history of misrepresentation, okay, or any immigration violation in any country, okay. So when you apply for your open work permit and permanent residency, your spouse and dependent child or children will be included in that application. So once you get your application approved, your spouse will also get an open work permit. The difference between your spouse open work permit with yours is that for him, it would be the usual open work permit, no, not occupation restricted and not employer restricted. So your spouse can work in any job, any employer as long as he's qualified for that job. Okay. And for your dependent child, they will be coming here under study permit and will be able to avail the free education up to grade 12. Okay. Okay. Next topic is the employer. Okay. I just want to make sure that it is clear with everyone. Even though I did mention that we have a branch in the Philippines, we are not licensed with POEA. And the reason being is because we are not a recruitment agency. Again, we are not a recruitment agency. We are a Canadian immigration consultancy firm based here in Nanaimo, BC, with a branch in the Philippines. So, in order for us to operate, we have our barangay permit, mayor's permit, sanitation permit, fire department fire permit, and all of those permit, but not licensed with POEA. Again, it's because we are not a recruitment agency, so we don't need to. Okay. So when it comes to the employer, this is a responsibility of the applicant. But even though this is your responsibility, we are here to help you find an employer. Okay. We have multiple ways to help you find an employer. Okay. And one question that I've been asked before is, what about relatives? Can relatives be an employer? Yes, as long as your relative can prove that they are a genuine employer and able to provide valid job offer, then yes, your relative can act as your employer. Okay. So a relative employer with children or with elderly parents or elderly or adults with disability. Okay. So what are the advantages in joining with us? Okay. So if you are going to hire a Canadian immigration consultant like myself, like in our office, our company, then there is a what we call the professional fee or retainer's fee, right? Because there's going to be a lot of hours that needs to be put in your application, right, to make sure that you have a good application to submit to IRCC or Immigration Refugee Citizenship of Canada, and we will be working with your case until you get your permanent residency, right? So that's 2 years. So as a Canadian immigration consultant, we have a professional fee, but for this webinar, for this live stream, uh, Facebook live stream, we are giving out 50% off on our professional fee. Now, this professional fee can also be negotiated with the employer, with your future employer, so that it's them that would be shouldering it, right? Yes, we have employers who are generous, so generous that they would shoulder all of the expenses for our caregiver, right? So there are employers like that. Not everyone, but there's a few employers like that wherein they would shoulder all of the expenses that a caregiver or nanny would incur. Okay. And normally, whatever the code that is provided to you, it would only be for yourself as the principal applicant. If you have a spouse or dependent children, there will be additional fee for that one because that's additional work, additional hours that need to be put in. But for this webinar, Facebook live stream, we are giving that one for free. We won't be charging additional fee for your spouse or dependents or your child or children. Okay. Next is this is the for the IELTS. Remember, I did mention that we'll be able to help you if this is you, like help you achieve the score that you need. So with our free unlimited IELTS review, we are confident that you will be able to achieve the score that you need. Okay. Again, for this one, you only need CLB 5. So with our top-notch IELTS review center, we are confident that you will be getting the score that you need. Okay. And then once our coach, education teacher, mentor is have assessed that you are now ready to take your exam, then we'll take care of your IELTS exam. Okay. We'll book this one for you. Okay. Then the most important thing is we will represent you to our Canadian employers, which is the most important thing, right? We will be here to represent you to our Canadian employers. We are here directly able to communicate to those employers on your behalf. We have multiple ways on how we are able to present you to different employers. One is through our website. Okay. So we will be posting, once you are part of our pool of caregivers, we will be posting your profile in our website. And this website targets Canadian employers. Okay. Then social media posting. So we do our advertisement. All right. We advertise in our social media, right? And those advertisement is also it's also geared towards the Canadian employers. That's our audience for our social media posting. Okay. Then the other one is networking. Okay. And when we say networking, if you can recall, I did mention that I am a registered nurse here in Canada. So that's one way that we can network with our Canadian employers, right? Because I am in the hospital, able to converse, able to talk to those patients who are needing caregivers as soon as they get discharged. So and that is our biggest advantage. Our biggest advantage is that we have, we are located here in Canada. We are able to directly talk to our Canadian employers in your behalf. Okay. And let's say, like right now, we are looking for a caregiver who has an experience with elderly care. And unfortunately, this employer is looking for a female caregiver, and unfortunately not married and no children. That is the requirement of the employer that we have right now, right? One of the employers, right? This is the most latest one that I can kind of like just on top of my head that I can recall, right? So an employer looking for a caregiver that has elderly experience, particularly advantage would be on dementia care, and female, no, not married, and no children. Okay, so if that's you, I'm hoping that you will join our pool of caregivers. I'm hoping that you would decide to join our pool of caregivers. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty sure you guys are asking yourselves, how true, how legitimate is this person talking behind this Facebook live stream or this Zoom webinar, right? And that is a very fair question because, of course, you want to make sure that we are legitimate, right? Before you do business with us. And that is, again, that is perfectly fine. So, as a Canadian immigration consultant, I had to take the immigration policy course. Once I had, once I have completed that one, I had to take the licensure exam. Then remain active and in good standing with our professional body, Immigration Consultant of Canada Regulatory Council. So, any person that provides advice on immigration for in immigration to Canada, they have to be licensed with ICCRC. Even though they are giving this as a free advice, they are still legally they need to be licensed with ICCRC. Okay, and I'll show you how you can check if someone is truly licensed with ICCRC. So I'll click on this one. This one will bring me to ICCRC website. And if you scroll down, public register, and then you can type in the name of the person you want to check. But for this webinar, let's go check myself. Roman, last name, last name is Roman, first name is Israel. And you hit search, and it should show the name of the person. So Roman Israel, and the status is active. And in the consultant identification that's my license number. And then you can hit contact to see where that person is based out of from. So for myself, it is Nanaimo, BC, Canada. And the company I work for is Roman and Associates Immigration Services Limited. Okay. All right. So next. Then, of course, you want to make sure, right? You want to make sure that the company is a legitimate company. So Roman and Associates, this one is registered here in BC, Canada. So we can go to Canada Business Registry. So I hit that one and all locations. So I chose British Columbia and then type in the company name, Roman and Associates. And this one would give you information that Roman and Associates Immigration Services Limited is an active BC company. So we are a corporation. Okay. All right. So with these two things, I'm hoping that you would feel there would be some sort of peace of mind when it comes to working with us, right? Knowing that we are a legitimate people and legitimate business. Okay, moving on to finding an employer. Okay, so of course you want to make sure that I am truly here in Canada because that's what we're trying. That's what we're one of our. That's one of the things that we are advertising, right? That we are here in Canada, and that we are able to directly talk to the Canadian employers here. So you can go ahead and not you, but me. I'll go ahead and go to the Google Internet search, and then I would type in Israel Roman Nanaimo, and it would show you right here on the right hand side. It shows you Roman and Associates Immigration Services. This is the address. The hours right now it says closed. We are open on Monday. Right now it is only 7:30 Saturday. So we are still. Is it Saturday? No, it's Friday. Sorry, confused. It is only Friday here in BC. So it is 7:30 Friday. And on the left hand side, what you're trying to do is see if there's anything that would say that I am really here in Canada or in Nanaimo. Okay. So this one right here, NanaiMoBulletin.com, Israel Roman, NRGH Intensive Care Unit, Telemetry Medicine Floor, Heart Health Manager. Okay. So yeah, so I did say that I am a nurse here in Canada. I mean, like I came here in Canada 2008 as a nurse, and fortunately, I've been right now. Fortunately, I'm now a nurse manager. So here in Nanaimo. Okay. All right. So let's go click some pictures, and the objective on this one is for you to really see if the voice behind this webinar and the picture that says is from Nanaimo is the same, right? So let's open my cam. Okay. All right. So the objective is for you to guys see if the picture that says Nanaimo Hospital Auxiliary Donation tops 300,000. This is indeed from in Nanaimo. Then this is from the Nanaimo News Bulletin. So so you guys can go ahead and compare the picture and the face in the screen right now in the webinar if they're the same. Okay. Next is this another picture. This is also from Nanaimo. So BC local news. Hospital Nanaimo gets 340,000. So that's me again. One more picture, probably two more. This is the second to the last. So this one right here is from Nanaimo Hospital Foundation. And that's myself right there touring a visitor to our ICU. One more. This is a picture with one of our caregivers who on her first week here in Nanaimo, so did a quick selfie, and there you go. Okay. Okay, so that's one way. That's the again we have multiple ways in helping you find an employer. So one is our presence here in Canada. The next one is through our recruitment agency based here in Canada, which is Home is Best Caregiver Services Limited. So this company right here is meant for employers, Canadian employers, looking for nannies and caregiver. Okay, and it might say here in Nanaimo, BC, but we do serve the entire country, Canada, except Quebec. All right. And another way of us helping you find an employer is through our nannies on the block. So this is a another one of our online platform wherein it connects our Canadian employers to the nannies and caregivers. And again, it's nannies on the block. And there you go. Okay. All right. So let's talk about salary. How much does a caregiver or nanny earn here in Canada? All right. So as a caregiver, the median wage is $16.50, while as a nanny, the median wage is $14.11. If you're going to be a nanny here in BC, it would be higher than that one. It would be $15. Okay. And if you're going to be a caregiver here in BC, it would be $18. But again, this is a median looking at the entire Canada, right? So let's do a sample computation. Let's say let's use the smaller wage. Let's say $14.11 times 40 hours per week. That would give you $564 per week, and in a month that would give you 2,256 in a month. Okay, and in a year that would give you $27,000. Okay, so if we convert this one to, let's say, Philippine peso, this one would give you close to 1,000,000 pesos, or 947 520 pesos to be exact. Okay. So my question, and again, and not again, but this is only yourself. This one doesn't include your spouse. If you have a spouse, then definitely your spouse will be, not definitely, but potentially your spouse will be earning the same amount if you let your spouse work, right? So I'm hoping you will. I doubt that you will ask your spouse to just stay at home while you work. All right. So I'm pretty sure your spouse will be working as well. But nonetheless, let's say it's just you. So you will be earning 947,000 pesos. My question to you is that as a nanny working for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years in your home country, would you be earning the same amount of money, which is 947,520 or close? Or another question I have is that as a nurse, in your home country, working as a nurse, let's say for 5 years, 10 years now, will you be, do you see yourself earning 947,000 pesos? Okay. And I think the answer to that one, pretty sure the answer to that one is a no. That's why I think this is a great opportunity for you guys, right? And I'm hoping that you guys will take advantage of this opportunity because this one will definitely, I think, this one will change your life. And yes, we do have caregivers, nannies here who are now working in working in a elderly facilities, long-term care facilities, or in a hospital. They've done their 2 years, 3 years as a caregiver, and now they are now working as a healthcare aide, okay, or home support worker, and they're earning close to, let's say, 22, $23 per hour, and that's in BC. Okay, all right. So everything seems to be everything right now. I think everything sounds great, right? So application, open work permit, occupation restricted only, not employer. So that's great. There won't be any, potentially, there won't be any gaps in employment. And then I'll be coming with my spouse and children. right? I'll be earning close to 1 million pesos. My spouse will be earning the same. And then my children will be attending school, Canadian education, getting a Canadian education for free. So family income is it's at least 2 million pesos, right? But of course, there are there are expenses attached to this one. It's not for free, right? Because if it's for free, then we won't be having this webinar, this Facebook live stream. You won't be needing my services for sure, right? So there are some expenses attached to this one, but I did write in here investment and not expenses because I see these expenses as an investment, right? You're investing in your future. You are spending money in order to earn income. Okay. So there is a return, there will be a return of investment. And the return of investment, how quick you'll have your investment back, will be controlled by you. All right. You won't be you won't be dependent on, let's say, on the products that you're selling, or you won't be dependent on other people buying your product, your services, right? Everything is on you. You have control over how quick you get your investment back, right? Because you're the one who will be working to get your investment back, right? Are you are you going to be working more than full-time hours, getting overtime? Will you let your spouse work as well, and all of those things, right? So it's you have control over your investment. Okay. So first is we have to check your eligibility before you invest on anything, right? We want to make sure that you are eligible for this program so that we won't be wasting your time and your money as well, right? We won't be moving to the next step if you're not eligible, and we will let you know, right? So the first step is your eligibility check. Once we have determined that you're eligible, then we go to the next step, which is the registration process. Okay. So on the next step, that is when your investment will start. So administration fee would be 48,000 pesos or 1,400 Canadian dollars. Then once you have settled your administration fee, we will go ahead and coordinate with you your IELTS review. Again, this is your unlimited IELTS review. Then once you're ready to take the exam, we'll go ahead and book your IELTS exam. Then once you're ready to submit your application for open work permit and permanent residency application, there'll be some fees attached to that one as well. And this is for it goes to IRCC. So 255 for your open work permit, 550 for your permanent residence application. Then you have your medical exam and your biometrics. Once you have completed your 2 years, we will submit your proof of employment and your right for permanent residency fee, which is 490. So roughly, approximately, your investment would be around 110,000. Okay, 110,000 pesos. But potentially, you'll be earning close to 1 million pesos. Okay, so it would be safe to say that within 6 months, you'll be able to get your investment back, which is this that is good to know because if you are going to be, let's say, asked loaning the money for this one, right, for this opportunity, then you'll be able to you'll be able to confidently say that I'll be able to pay you back within 6 months, right? So this one right here, it's only for you though, right? So if you have a spouse, then your spouse will have a fee as well for those application. which is the same amount, right? But again, your spouse will be getting an open work permit, not occupation or employee restricted. So within 6 months or less than 6 months, he'll be able to get this money back, this investment back. Okay. Now, right here, retainer fee, as I've said, 50% off. So our retainer fee usually is 5,000, but for this webinar, it is only 2,500. And again, this is negotiated with the employer, right? So we'll negotiate and with the employer for them to go ahead and shoulder this one. Or they might say, no, let's just go ahead and split the amount kind of thing, or make some different arrangement with you. Okay. So steps. First, again, is the eligibility check. We have to make sure first that you're eligible before we move forward. We don't want to waste your time and money. Then once we find out that you're eligible, we'll let you know, and that would be the start of your investment. That is when you'll start investing money. Registration, administration fee will be due. Then we look at your IELTS. Then we prepare your documents for submission to IRCC. Then fly to Canada. Again, if you have a spouse or dependent children, they will be coming with you. So there won't be any waiting for 2 to 3 years before they follow you. They will come with you, right? You'll take them with you, right from the beginning. So there won't be any that would help you eliminate or lessen that homesickness kind of thing, right? So because you'll have your family with you when you come here. All right. So what is the immediate next steps? And this is only, of course, the immediate next step is only if you're decided that this is a program for you, that the caregiver program is what you need, right, to change your life, that you want to avail the promo, the free unlimited IELTS review from our top-notch review center, your IELTS exam, and be part of our pool wherein we do represent to our Canadian employers. Okay, if that one sounds good for you guys, then please submit your resume to assessment at romancanadianimmigration.ca. And on the subject line, please type in Caregiver Pathway Webinar. The subject line is important so that we are able to triage your email so that it doesn't get buried with all of our emails that we do get. Okay. And also, this one will trigger us, that would inform us that you are part of this webinar and will be availing the promo that I have mentioned. Once we have determined you are eligible, then we will be emailing you for the next steps for the registration. Okay. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm hoping that you guys did learn a lot of things. Even though this might not be a program for you, but still, I'm hoping that you did learn, right? And if you if you please, if you don't mind sharing the information that you have received, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them. I'll give you guys a minute to enter all of your questions. I'm pretty sure you're still thinking of the questions that you want to ask. But for those people who will be signing off, thank you for joining us, and do appreciate you attending the webinar, the Facebook live stream. So till then, so for those people who have questions, you have a minute or so to enter those questions, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and see if we have any questions here. So there's a question here. My question is, I had experience in taking care of elderly here in Hong Kong way back 2015 to 17. Is that accepted when I start to apply now as a caregiver? Yes, that is still considered recent. 2 years of a caregiver experience that ended in 2017. So that is definitely a recent experience. So I'm hoping that you go ahead and apply, right? So yeah, so submit your application, or I mean, submit your resume to assessment at romancanadianimmigration.ca. Okay, it's CLB 5. Yes, it is CLB 5 for the English exam. Hello, Denrel. I'm hoping I did pronounce your name correctly. Now I had to start working with autism kids. So that is great. So definitely you are qualified either as a caregiver or as a nanny. Good on you. Okay. All right. Next question is, hi sir, I just want to ask if let's say for example, we're already in Canada, is it free accommodation? It depends, right? So if you are being hired as a live-in caregiver, then yes, it is a free accommodation. But if it's a live out, then you'll have to shoulder your own rental expense, which I mean, we can pretty sure there'll be a some less expensive rental, right? Next question is, do you have an agency here in Hong Kong? Because I'm still here working. So unfortunately, we don't have an agency in Hong Kong, and it's going to be hard to have an agency, a branch in all the countries in the world, right? So, but with our technology, I mean, we are able to provide services anywhere our client is from or anywhere our client is currently residing. We are able to provide service for them with no problem, right? So our caregivers caregivers came from Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, right? Japan, Korea, and Israel, right? Those are the countries that are on top of my head right now. But we didn't have any agency or office on those countries, but we are able to provide service for them. So having an agency or not having an agency is not a problem. It won't be a barrier for us. So we can still work with you and with no problem at all. Next question is, sir, what if I already had a results of my IELTS and ECA? How much do I need to pay for the registration? For example, I am eligible, sir. So, Catherine, I'll have to go back to our accounting, to our office on that one because, I mean, like normally, normally without this promo, our fee would still be the same, 48,000. Our administration fee would still be 48,000, right? But just but because of this promo, but because we're having this promo, we're able to provide free unlimited IELTS review and IELTS exam. So my suggestion to you is go ahead and submit your resume to assessment at romancanadianimmigration.ca, and just say that we had you attended this webinar and looking for any more discount, knowing that you have your IELTS and knowing that you have your IELTS with you. So yeah, so and then we'll be able to look at that one. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to come up with something for you, Catherine. That won't be a problem for sure. All right, next question is, do I have to study in caregiving course? So in order to get approved for an open work permit and permanent residency application, you need to be able to prove that you're able to do the job. So if you are getting hired as a nanny or caregiver, you need to be able to prove that you have the course, training, or experience or equivalent to prove that you're able to do the job, right? So you don't need to have a caregiving course if you have experience, or you don't need to have experience in caregiving course if you have, let's say, a nursing degree, right? Or if you are working as a nurse, then that is something equivalent, right? So it depends on your situation. You don't technically need a caregiving course, but you need to have an experience though if you don't have a course. So there you go. So again, to prove that you're able to do the job, you need to be able to present either a caregiving course, or you had your training as a caregiver, or you have experience as a caregiver or nanny, or equivalent. For the IELTS score requirement, this is CLB 5. You only need CLB 5. Okay, so looking at all the comments in the Facebook live stream, I don't see any questions anymore. In Zoom, I don't see any questions. So I guess you guys got all the information that you need. So if in case later on you remember a question, do not hesitate to go to our Facebook business page and just drop us a message, and we'll be happy to answer. Okay, so I guess this is it for me. So till next time, stay safe.